My parents didn't miss my graduation. They chose my sister's brunch. The text arrived at 6:14 a.m., blue screen glow in my dark dorm room. Can't make it today. Emma needs us at her apartment. She's overwhelmed with wedding planning. You understand. 22 years of education. 6 words of excuse. By 10 a.m., I walked past their empty seats, Northwestern Ryan Auditorium, Section A, Row 3, Seats 7 and 8. Sunlight hit the vacant red velvet. Around me, 847 families cheered. Beside me, shadows where mine should have been. I didn't post anything. My roommate's father did those 2 empty seats. That moment I walked past them alone. 2.3 million views by midnight. Dad's entire law firm saw it. Mom's garden club. Emma's wedding guests. Then my phone exploded with calls I didn't answer. The email arrived at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in April. Subject line: Congratulations from Northwestern University. I was sitting on my twin bed in my campus apartment, laptop balanced on my knees, coffee going cold on the nightstand. My hands shook as I opened it. We are pleased to offer you the Presidential Scholarship for Graduate Studies. Full tuition coverage, $52,000 per year. I read it 3 times, then I screamed. My roommate Kiara burst through the door, hair wrapped in a silk scarf, eyes wide. What happened? Are you okay? I got it. My voice cracked. I got the full ride. MBA program. Everything covered. She tackled me on the bed, both of us laughing, crying, the laptop sliding to the floor. 4 years of surviving on ramen and library air conditioning. 4 years of double shifts at the campus bookstore. 4 years of watching everyone else go home for breaks while I stayed to work. It was over. I'd made it. I called my parents at 7:15 a.m. Mom answered on the 4th ring. Nadia? It's early. Is everything okay? I got it, Mom. The scholarship. Full ride for my MBA. I'm going to grad school. Silence. Then, oh, that's nice, sweetie. Nice. I wanted to tell you first. I thought maybe you and Dad could come visit campus this weekend. We could celebrate. This weekend? Her voice shifted, distracted. Hold on. Someone's calling on the other line. It might be Vanessa. The hold music played for 47 seconds. I counted. Nadia, I have to go. Vanessa needs to finalize the bridal shower venue. We'll talk later, okay? Proud of you. She hung up before I could respond. Kiara was watching from her doorway. What did they say? They're proud of me. I tried to smile. They're just busy. But something felt wrong. Something I couldn't name yet. That evening, I was heating up leftover pasta when my phone lit up with Instagram notifications. Vanessa had posted. The photo showed my parents in her apartment, champagne glasses raised, my mom hugging my sister. The caption, "Best parents ever. So grateful for their support during wedding planning chaos. Couldn't do this without them." Posted at 7:20 a.m. 5 minutes after I'd called. 5 minutes after Mom said she had to take Vanessa's call. I stared at the image. Mom's smile was wider than I'd seen in years. Dad's arm around Vanessa's shoulders. 3 glasses of champagne on the counter behind them. They hadn't been busy. They'd been with her. I remembered being 10 years old, sitting on our back porch with Dad. Summer evening, fireflies blinking in the yard. He'd asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. A doctor, I'd said. Or maybe a lawyer. Something important. He'd ruffled my hair. Then we'll be there for every milestone. First day of college, graduation, all of it. That's what parents do. I'd believed him. Standing in my tiny kitchen, phone screen glowing with my sister's celebration, I felt something shift. Not break. Not yet. Just shift. The pasta was burning. I turned off the stove and sat on the floor. Kiara found me there 20 minutes later, back against the cabinet, phone in my lap. Hey. She slid down next to me. What's wrong? I showed her Vanessa's post. They were with her when I called. They chose to celebrate her brunch venue over my scholarship. Kiara's jaw tightened. That's messed up. It's fine. I locked my phone. They're busy. Wedding planning is stressful. I get it. But I didn't get it. And somewhere, in the part of my brain that had been keeping score for 22 years, a number clicked forward. I was 8 the first time I noticed. The Riverside Elementary Talent Show. I'd practiced my piano piece for 3 months for Elise, every note memorized. Mom and Dad promised they'd be in the front row. 20 minutes before the show, Dad got a call. Vanessa had forgotten her dance costume at home. She was 12, performing across town at the community center. We'll be back in time, Mom said, kissing my forehead. We promise. They weren't. I played Fur Elise to an audience of other people's parents. My music teacher, Mrs. Chen, sat in the front row and clapped the loudest. She drove me home after. When I walked in, Mom and Dad were on the couch, watching Vanessa's performance video on the camcorder. She was doing pirouettes in her living room. You should have seen her, Nadia, Mom gushed. She was the best one there. How was your thing? Dad asked, not looking away from the screen. My thing. I told them it went fine. I don't think they heard me. Our family, Carol and Dennis Harper. Vanessa, 5 years older. Me. Vanessa was the golden child. Not in a subtle way. In the kind of way that made relatives uncomfortable at Thanksgiving. When I was 14, we both had milestone birthdays the same year. Vanessa turned 16. I turned 14. She got a car. Used Honda Civic, but still a car. Red bow on top. Dad spent 3 weeks shopping for it. I got a used bicycle from a garage sale. Mom wrapped it in newspaper. You're too young to drive anyway, she'd said when she saw my face. This is practical. Vanessa got her license and drove to school every day. I rode my newspaper-wrapped bike in the rain. When I was 18, acceptance letters arrived. I got into Northwestern with a partial scholarship. Vanessa had gone to state school, fully funded by our parents. I thought maybe they'd help with my tuition, too. Dad sat me down at the kitchen table, hands folded, expression serious. Nadia, we're proud of you, but we've tapped out our savings. You're smart, you'll figure out scholarships, loans, work-study. You're resourceful. I was resourceful because I had to be. 4 years at Northwestern. I worked 20 hours a week at the campus bookstore. I took out $43,000 in student loans. I ate ramen 4 nights a week and learned which campus events had free food. During that time, Vanessa lived at home rent-free. When she graduated, our parents bought her a condo as a gift, $45,000 down payment. I found out from Facebook. I graduated with a 3.97 gigapascals, summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society. I did it while working and drowning in debt. Vanessa graduated with a 2.8 and no student loans. My senior year, I won 3 academic awards. My parents didn't visit campus once. It's a long drive, sweetheart, Mom said when I invited them to the Phi Beta Kappa ceremony. And your father's back has been acting up. 2 weeks later, they drove 6 hours to Vanessa's apartment to help her paint her living room. The patterns were everywhere once I started looking. But I kept believing it would change. I kept believing that graduation would be different. In March, I ordered their ceremony tickets. 2 reserved seats, Section A, Row 3. I sent them the tickets with a handwritten note. I know I haven't asked for much, but this matters. Please be there. Dad texted back. Wouldn't miss it. Mom sent a heart emoji. I let myself hope. I spent $180 I didn't have on a new dress for under my graduation gown. I wanted to look perfect in the photos. The photos where they'd finally be proud. Vanessa's wedding was scheduled for August. By May, it was all my parents talked about during our brief phone calls. The florist needs a decision. The venue requires a deposit. Vanessa's so stressed. I told myself there was room for both. Room for her wedding and my graduation. I was wrong. Graduation morning arrived with golden sunlight and a knot in my stomach. I woke at 6 a.m., too nervous to sleep. My cap and gown hung on the closet door, pressed and perfect. The dress I'd bought fit exactly right, deep blue. Professional. Hopeful. Kiara made me eat toast. You need energy. It's a long ceremony. I couldn't taste it. I kept checking my phone. No message from my parents yet. By 8 a.m., I was dressed. Cap pinned in my hair, gown zipped. I looked in the mirror and saw someone who'd survived 4 years against every odd. I looked like someone who deserved to have their parents there. At 8:30 a.m., Kiara and I walked to Ryan Auditorium. The morning was perfect, crisp air, blue sky, campus alive with graduates and families. Everywhere I looked, parents were taking photos, adjusting caps, crying happy tears. They're probably stuck in traffic, Kiara said, linking her arm through mine. I nodded. Traffic. That made sense. We entered the auditorium at 9:15. The space was massive, soaring ceilings, rows of burgundy seats, stage decorated with Northwestern banners. Families filled the seats, a sea of pride and cameras. Section A, Row 3, seats 7 and 8. I found them easily, right up front where they'd have a perfect view. I put my purse on seat 7. Saved, I told the usher. Family? She asked. My parents. They'll be here soon. She smiled. It's going to be a beautiful ceremony. I took my place in the processional line. Alphabetical order. Harper put me near the middle. I could see the auditorium entrance from where I stood. 9:30 a.m. They weren't here yet. 9:45 a.m. The line started moving. Then my phone buzzed. Text message from Mom. My hands went cold before I even read it. Can't make it today. Vanessa needs us at her apartment. She's overwhelmed with wedding planning. You understand. So proud of you. I read it twice, then 3 times. The words didn't change. Nadia? The graduate behind me touched my shoulder. The lines moving. I walked into the auditorium like a robot. The processional music played. Pomp and circumstance. Around me, 847 students walked toward their futures. In the audience, 847 families stood and cheered. I found Section A, Row 3. Seats 7 and 8. Empty. Sunlight streamed through the high windows, hitting the burgundy velvet. The seats glowed red and vacant. My purse sat alone on seat 7. I couldn't breathe. I made it to my assigned seat in the graduate section. Sat down. Hands shaking. Vision blurring. The girl next to me leaned over. You okay? I couldn't answer. The ceremony started. Dean Morrison spoke about achievement and resilience, about the support of families who believed in us. I stared at those 2 empty seats. Everyone around me had someone, parents, siblings, grandparents, friends, clapping, crying, filming. I had sunlight on empty velvet. When they called my name, I walked across that stage, shook the dean's hand, accepted my diploma, smiled for the official photographer. In the audience, 847 families cheered for 847 students. For me, silence from Section A, Row 3. I don't remember walking off the stage. I don't remember sitting back down. The ceremony ended. Around me, graduates found their families. Hugs, tears, photos. I stood in the aisle, holding my diploma, watching. Kiara appeared with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Chen. Mrs. Chen pulled me into a hug immediately. Where are your parents? She asked. They couldn't make it. My voice sounded far away. Family emergency. Mr. Chen's expression said he didn't believe me. He took photos anyway. Me and Kiara, arms around each other, fake smiles. I went back to Section A. Row 3. Retrieved my purse from seat 7. The seat was still warm from the sunlight. That's when I noticed Mr. Chen had been taking photos the whole time. Not just of us, of everything, including 2 empty seats in the front row. I saw him show the photos to Mrs. Chen. Saw her face change. Saw her whisper something to Kiara. Later, in the parking lot, Kiara checked her phone and went pale. Nadia. You need to see this. Her dad had posted the photos on Facebook. Not the smiling ones. The other ones. Two empty burgundy seats, sunlight hitting the velvet. The caption, "Every student deserves family in the front row." Heartbroken for Nadia Harper, who walked alone today while her parents chose elsewhere. It already had 340 shares. I checked Instagram. Vanessa had posted at 9:30 a.m., the exact moment the ceremony started. A photo of her, mom, and dad at the Ivy Room. Mimosas on the table. All of them laughing. Location tag clear. The Ivy Room was 12 minutes from campus. 12 minutes. They'd been close enough to hear the bells ringing for graduation. I zoomed in on the photo. On the table behind the mimosas, a receipt. I could just barely make out the numbers. Brunch for three. $340. My graduation gift from them had been a text message and an excuse. Vanessa's Wednesday brunch had been $340 and their presents. Something in my chest finally broke. I sat in my apartment for 3 days, staring at that Instagram post. Vanessa's brunch. Posted at 9:30 a.m., exactly when my graduation ceremony began. The Ivy Room, 12 minutes from campus. Mom, Dad, and Vanessa with mimosas, laughing like they didn't have anywhere else to be. Like they hadn't just abandoned me. Kiara tried to get me to eat. You need to process this. Talk to someone. Do something. I did something. I started scrolling. Vanessa's Instagram went back years. I'd never paid attention before, why would I? But now, lying on my couch with my laptop overheating on my stomach, I scrolled through every post from the last 2 years. April 2 years ago. Mom and Dad surprised me with a spa weekend. Best parents ever. September. Dad helping me move into my new place. Couldn't do this without him. December. Early Christmas gift from Mom. She knew exactly what I wanted. On and on. Dozens of posts. Hundreds of comments. Our parents. Constantly present in her life. Visiting. Helping. Celebrating. Funding. I searched my own Instagram for comparison. My last post with them was from 3 years ago. Thanksgiving. Awkward family photo. Forced smiles. They commented on every single one of Vanessa's posts. They'd liked maybe 3 of mine in the last year. I kept scrolling through Vanessa's feed, and that's when I saw it. A post from 2 weeks before my graduation. Vanessa at a restaurant, champagne glass raised. Celebrating with the parents. They just covered the deposit for my dream brunch venue. Planning the perfect morning with the people I love most. The post was tagged with a location. The Ivy Room. My stomach dropped. 2 weeks before my graduation. They'd planned this. This wasn't a last-minute emergency. This wasn't Vanessa being overwhelmed. They'd booked a brunch venue 2 weeks in advance. On the same day as my graduation. I sat up so fast my laptop slid to the floor. Kiara emerged from her room. What? What is it? I showed her the post, hands shaking. Look at the date. They planned her brunch 2 weeks ago. They knew my graduation was today. They chose this. Kiara read it twice. Her face went hard. Nadia. That's deliberate. Maybe they forgot. They didn't forget. Look at the comments. I scrolled down. Vanessa had replied to someone. I know it's the same day as Nadia's thing, but Mom and Dad said she'd understand. She's always so independent. My thing. She'd called my college graduation my thing. And our parents had said I'd understand. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger yet. Something sharper. There's more, Kiara said quietly. She'd taken out her own phone. Your dad's Facebook. He posted about the brunch this morning. She showed me. Dad's Facebook post from 9:15 a.m. Lovely morning celebrating Vanessa's upcoming wedding. Family time is the best time. Posted 15 minutes before my ceremony started. No mention of me. No mention of graduation. Like I didn't exist. I stood up. Paced to the window. Paced back. I need to see their finances. I said. Kiara blinked. What? If they planned this brunch weeks ago, they paid for it. I want to know how much they spent on her emergency while I was walking across that stage alone. How are you going to? I'm still on their phone plan. I have access to the family Verizon account, which means I can see their linked accounts. It was a stretch, but I was past caring about privacy. I opened my laptop, logged into Verizon, navigated to the family account settings. And there it was. Dad's email, linked accounts, including one that made my blood run cold. Venmo. Set to public. Oh my God, I whispered. Kiara leaned over my shoulder. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I was. Every transaction my father had made in the last 2 years. Public, visible, time-stamped. I clicked on his profile. The most recent payment, $3,200 to Vanessa Harper. Note: brunch venue deposit. Posted 2 weeks ago. Exactly when her Instagram post said, my hands were shaking so hard I could barely scroll. But I scrolled anyway. The Venmo history went back 2 years. I sat at my desk, laptop screen glowing, and I scrolled through every single payment my father had sent to Vanessa. August, 2 years ago, $8,000. Note: love you, kiddo. September, $4,500. Note: condo furniture. October, $12,000. Note: you deserve it. November, $6,200. December, $9,800. January, $11,000. On and on. Month after month. Thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars. I pulled up my calculator app and started adding. $8,000 plus $4,000. $500 plus $12,000. Plus $6,000. $200 plus. My hands were shaking too hard. I kept hitting the wrong numbers. Kiara took the laptop from me. Let me. She pulled up a spreadsheet, started entering every payment, every date, every amount. I watched the total climb. $20,000, $40,000, $60,000, $80,000. When she finished, she turned the screen toward me. Total payments to Vanessa Harper over 18 months, $127,000. $127,000. I stared at the number until it stopped looking like words. Check your own, Kiara said quietly. I didn't want to. I knew what I'd find. But I searched for my name in Dad's Venmo history anyway. June, last year, $50. Note: birthday. October, $75. Note: for books. December, $100. Note: Merry Christmas. March, this year, $25. Note: good luck. That was it. 4 payments in 18 months. Total, $250. I did the math again, even though I didn't need to. $127,000 for Vanessa. $250 for me. That was a ratio of 508 to 1. 508 times more money for her than for me. Nadia. Kiara's voice sounded far away. This is financial abuse. I couldn't respond. I was scrolling through the payments again, reading the notes. You deserve it. Love you, kiddo. For my favorite daughter. That one was from October. I'd been drowning in midterm exams, working double shifts to cover rent. I'd texted Dad asking if they could help with my textbook costs. $300. He'd said no. Money's tight right now, sweetheart. 3 days later, he'd sent Vanessa $6,000 with the note, for my favorite daughter. I zoomed in on that transaction, looked at the date, looked at the timestamp. 3 days after I'd asked for help. The room was tilting. When was your last loan disbursement? Kiara asked. What? Your student loans. When did you get your last disbursement? I pulled up my loan portal. January. Why? Look at his payments to Vanessa in January. I did. January 8th, $11,000 to Vanessa. Note: for your dream wedding. January 12th. I'd received my loan disbursement. The same week I'd gone $8,500 deeper into debt. My father had given my sister $11,000 for her wedding. I thought about every time I'd eaten ramen to save money. Every time I'd walked instead of taking the bus to save $2. Every shift I'd worked while my classmates studied. Every textbook I'd pirated because I couldn't afford to buy it. While they sent my sister more money in 18 months than I'd borrowed for 4 years of college. There's more, Kiara said. She'd kept scrolling. Look at graduation week. May 12th. $3,200 to Vanessa. Note: brunch venue deposit. May 14th. $800 to Vanessa. Note: flowers for the venue. May 15th graduation day. $340 to the Ivy Room. Note: best brunch ever. May 15th. $150 to Vanessa. Note: you looked beautiful today. On the day of my graduation, they'd spent $490 on Vanessa's brunch. My graduation gift had been a text message. I stood up too fast. The chair fell backward. I need air. I made it to the bathroom before I threw up. Kiara held my hair back, saying nothing. When I could breathe again, I sat on the floor, back against the bathtub. They chose her, I said, every single time, for 18 months. Every time they could have helped me, they gave the money to her instead. It's worse than that, Kiara said. They didn't just choose her, they celebrated choosing her. Look at those notes. You deserve it. For my favorite daughter. They wanted her to know she was the priority. I thought about the brunch, the Instagram post, Vanessa's smile. She knew. She'd always known. And they'd made sure of it. I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I was still at my laptop, scrolling through evidence I wished I'd never found. But I kept digging. Because $127,000 didn't just appear. I knew my parents. I knew their finances. Or I thought I did. Dad was a lawyer. Good salary, but not wealthy. Mom worked part-time at a boutique. They'd always said money was tight. That's why they couldn't help with my college. So where had $127,000 come from? I pulled up my parents' Facebook profiles. Started scrolling through 2 years of posts. June, 2 years ago. Mom's post. Downsizing. Selling my grandmother's antique dining set. Bittersweet, but necessary. The dining set I'd grown up eating at. The one Mom had always said would be mine someday. Comments section. Sold. $4,800. Thank you. I checked Dad's Venmo. June 15th, 2 years ago. $4,800 to Vanessa. Note: just because. They'd sold my grandmother's dining set and given Vanessa the money. I kept scrolling. August. Dad's post. Anyone need a lawnmower? Upgrading to a landscaping service. Comments. Sold for $400. August 18th. $400 to Vanessa. Note: coffee money. $400 was coffee money? October. Mom's post. Cleaning out the garage, selling my old Peloton bike, barely used. Sold for $800. October 3rd, $800 to Vanessa. Note: treat yourself. They were liquidating everything, selling belongings, downsizing, cutting costs, and sending every penny to Vanessa. I found Dad's post from March. Taking on extra client work, busy season. I knew what that meant. He'd complained about extra work during our last phone call. Said he was exhausted. March payments to Vanessa, $9,000. He was working himself to exhaustion to fund her life. While telling me they couldn't afford to help with my $300 textbook, I pulled up my own memory, started reconstructing the timeline. 18 months ago. That was November of my junior year. The month, Vanessa got engaged. I checked her Instagram. November 8th, 2 years ago. I said yes, planning the wedding of my dreams. The first big payment from Dad. November 12th, $11,000. Note: for your dream wedding. Every payment after that had been wedding-related. Venue deposits, dress fittings, flowers, catering, photography, bridal shower, bachelorette party. They'd been funding her entire wedding. For 18 months. While I pulled up my own timeline, tried to remember what I'd needed during those 18 months. November, junior year. I'd asked for help with rent. They said no. December. I'd texted asking if they could cover my emergency room bill after I'd gotten the flu. $150. They said money was tight. February. I'd asked if they could help with summer housing deposit. $400. Dad said he'd just had an unexpected expense. The unexpected expense was $6,000 to Vanessa for her bridal shower venue. April. I'd needed a new laptop. Mine had died. $800. Mom said they couldn't swing it. That week, they'd sent Vanessa $4,500 for wedding dress alterations. June. I'd asked if they could visit for my birthday. Gas money. Maybe help with a dinner out. Dad said, "Money's tight right now. We'll celebrate when things ease up." That month, $12,000 to Vanessa for catering deposit. Every time I'd asked for help, any help, even just their presence, they'd said no because of money. And then immediately sent Vanessa thousands. I thought about my graduation. The text message. "Vanessa needs us. She's overwhelmed." She wasn't overwhelmed. She was getting brunch at a venue they'd paid $3,200 to book. While I walked across the stage alone, I pulled up the comments on Vanessa's brunch post from graduation day. Someone had asked, "Isn't this the same day as your sister's graduation?" Vanessa had replied, "Yeah, but Mom and Dad said she'd understand. She's always been so independent. Plus, I really needed them today. Wedding planning is so stressful." She'd needed them. For brunch. On my graduation day. And they'd chosen her. I scrolled to Vanessa's post from the day after graduation. A photo of her with Mom and Dad, all smiling. Caption: "Yesterday was exactly what I needed. So grateful for parents who show up when it matters." When it matters. My graduation hadn't mattered. 4 years of perfect grades, working full-time, drowning in debt, graduating summa cum laude, none of that had mattered. But Vanessa's brunch had. Kiara found me at 4 a.m., still at my laptop, spreadsheet open. "You're still up?" "For 18 months, I said. My voice sounded flat. "From the day she got engaged until my graduation. Every time I needed them, they chose her. Every single time." Kiara read over my shoulder, saw the timeline I'd built. "Nadia, this is systematic. It's not just favoritism." I turned to face her. "It's erasure. They didn't just prioritize her, they eliminated me. What are you going to do?" I looked at the evidence. It $127,000 in payments. 18 months of choosing Vanessa over me. A graduation day they deliberately scheduled around. "I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who they are." I showed Kiara everything at 6 a.m. She'd been awake too. I heard her in the kitchen, making coffee, trying to be quiet. I walked out with my laptop and spreadsheet printed on 12 pages. "I need you to tell me I'm not crazy," I said. She set down her mug. "Show me." I spread the papers across our kitchen table. The Venmo history, the timeline, the Instagram posts, the math. $127,000 to Vanessa, $250 to me. 18 months of systematic erasure. Kiara read every page in silence. When she finished, she looked up at me with an expression I'd never seen before. "Nadia, this is abuse." "I know it's favoritism, but—" "No." She cut me off. "This isn't favoritism. Favoritism is getting the bigger piece of cake. This is financial abuse and deliberate psychological harm." I sat down hard. "You really think so?" "I know so." She pulled out her phone. "My aunt's a family lawyer. I'm calling her right now." "Kiara." It's 6 in the morning. She was already dialing. Aunt Rebecca? It's Kiara. I'm sorry to call so early. I need you to talk to my roommate. It's urgent. She handed me the phone. Hello? My voice shook. This is Rebecca Walsh. Kiara says it's urgent. Tell me what's happening. I told her. Everything. The graduation, the empty seats, the Venmo payments, the 18 months of lies. She was quiet for a long moment. How old are you, Nadia? 22. And your sister? 27. You're both adults. Which means this isn't child favoritism, this is intentional infliction of emotional distress between adults. That's legally actionable. My hands went cold. Actionable? You could file a civil lawsuit. You have documentation, a clear pattern, financial records, public humiliation witnessed by hundreds of people. That viral photo, that's evidence. I don't want to sue them. I just want them to acknowledge what they did. Nadia. Her voice gentled. People like this don't acknowledge. They deny. You need to decide. Do you want an apology? Or do you want accountability? I thought about the text message on graduation day, the Instagram post, Vanessa's brunch, the $127,000. Accountability, I whispered. Then you need to come to my office. I want to see everything you have. When? How's tomorrow morning? I looked at Kiara. She nodded. Tomorrow morning, I said. When I hung up, Kiara squeezed my hand. You're doing the right thing. They're my parents. They were supposed to be. She stood up, started making breakfast. Real parents show up. Real parents don't keep score. Real parents sure as hell don't spend $127,000 on one daughter while the other is drowning in debt. I looked at the spreadsheet again. At the numbers, I couldn't escape. What if everyone thinks I'm just jealous? Everyone already saw the empty chairs, Nadia. Everyone saw that viral photo. 2 million people know they chose brunch over your graduation. You're not making them look bad. You're just showing the receipts. She was right. I wasn't the villain here. Okay, I said. Tomorrow, I'll meet with a lawyer. Kiara smiled. Good. Now eat something. You're going to need your strength. I tried to eat. Managed half a piece of toast. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. Hope graduation was nice. Send photos when you can. Hope it was nice. Like she hadn't deliberately missed it. I showed Kiara the text. Don't respond, she said immediately. Not until after you talk to Rebecca. Anything you say now could hurt your case. My case. I had a case against my own parents. The thought should have made me sad. Instead, I felt something sharp and clear. I felt ready. Rebecca Walsh's office was on the 14th floor of a glass building downtown. Professional, clean, expensive-looking. I felt small walking in. Kiara came with me, held my folder of evidence like it was precious. Rebecca met us in the lobby. She was maybe 50, dark hair in a neat bun, sharp eyes that saw everything. Nadia, come in. Her office had floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the city, law books lining one wall. She gestured to the chairs across from her desk. Show me what you have. I handed her the folder, watched her read through everything. The Venmo payments, the timeline, the Instagram screenshots, the text message from graduation day. She read it all twice. This is damning, she said finally. Is it enough? I asked. For a lawsuit? It's enough for several causes of action. Intentional infliction of emotional distress is the strongest. You can also argue financial manipulation if they ever promised you support and then diverted funds to your sister. They did. I pulled out my phone, showed her a text from 2 years ago. Dad's message. We'll help however we can with college. That's what parents do. Then the Venmo history showing he'd sent Vanessa $11,000 the same week I'd asked for help with rent. Rebecca's expression hardened. That's fraud. Promissory fraud, specifically. What are my options? She leaned back in her chair. Option 1. Civil lawsuit for damages. You'd sue for intentional infliction of emotional distress, breach of promise, and emotional damages. We'd seek compensatory damages, the money they should have given you, plus punitive damages for the deliberate nature of the harm. How much? Based on this, we could argue for $127,000 in compensatory damages, matching what they gave your sister, plus punitive damages. Could be another $50,000 to $100,000 depending on the jury. My stomach flipped. That much? They publicly humiliated you, Nadia. That viral photo has 2.3 million views. They didn't just hurt you privately, they did it in front of the world. That matters legally. What's option 2? Mediation. We request a formal mediation session. They'd have to sit across from you with a mediator and address this. If they refuse to acknowledge wrongdoing or offer restitution, we file the lawsuit. How long would this take? Mediation could happen within a month. If we go to trial, we're looking at 8 to 12 months. Discovery, depositions, court dates. It's not fast. 8 to 12 months. A year of my life fighting my own parents. There's option 3, Rebecca said. You do nothing. You walk away. Cut contact. Move on. Can I do that? I asked. Just walk away? You can, but will you? She looked at me directly. Because, from what I'm seeing, they're not done. Your sister's getting married in August. There will be more expenses, more posts, more public celebrations of the daughter who matters. Can you watch that and stay silent? I thought about Vanessa's wedding, the $85,000 budget I'd seen mentioned in her Instagram, the bridal shower, the bachelorette party, the dress fittings, all funded by parents who couldn't afford to attend my graduation. No, I said. I can't stay silent. Rebecca nodded. Then we build a case. We document everything. And we make sure they can't deny what they've done. What do I do first? First, you don't contact them. No calls, no texts, no responses. Everything you say can be used in court. Second, you gather every piece of evidence you can find. Emails, texts, social media posts, financial records. Third, we file a police report. Police? It establishes a legal record. Even if no charges are filed, it documents the pattern of behavior. It shows you took this seriously. I looked at Kiara. She nodded. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Rebecca smiled. Good. We start now. Building a case against your own family is methodical work. Rebecca gave me homework. A list of evidence to gather, organized by category. Financial records, bank statements, Venmo history, credit card bills, loan documents, communications, every text, email, voicemail, social media message, social media, screenshots of every relevant post, with timestamps and engagement metrics, witnesses, names and contact information for anyone who knew about the favoritism, timeline, a detailed chronological record of every incident. I spent the next 3 weeks living in that evidence. I downloaded my entire text message history with my parents. 4 years of conversations. I read every one. The patterns were worse than I'd thought. Every time I'd asked for help, money's tight. We can't swing it right now. You're so independent. You'll figure it out. Every time Vanessa asked for anything. Of course. Whatever you need. You deserve the best. I made a document. 2 columns, side by side. What I asked for versus what Vanessa got. The contrast was devastating. I pulled every Instagram post from both of our accounts. Created a comparison file. Posts featuring Vanessa with our parents. 47 inches the last 2 years. Posts featuring me with our parents. 3. Comments from our parents on Vanessa's posts. 284. Comments from our parents on my posts. 12. I tracked their physical presence. Events they attended for Vanessa. Bridal, shower, engagement party, dress shopping, 4 times, venue tours, cake tasting, brunch planning. Events they attended for me. None, 0. Not one campus visit in 4 years. I found emails, dozens of them. Vanessa's emails to them. Can you help with X? Response time. Usually within an hour. Answer. Always yes. My emails to them. Can you help with Y? Response time. Days. Answer. Usually no. I contacted Uncle James, Dad's younger brother. Asked if I could talk to him. We met at a coffee shop. He looked uncomfortable before I even started talking. I saw the photo, he said immediately. The empty chairs. Nadia, I'm so sorry. Did you know? I asked. About how they treat us differently? He was quiet for a long moment. I knew. I tried to say something once, at Thanksgiving 3 years ago. Your dad told me to mind my own business. What did you see? Everything. The money they pour into Vanessa. The way they talk about her versus you. She's the golden child. You're, he paused. You're the one they expect to succeed without help. Will you testify to that, if it goes to court? Yes. No hesitation. What they did is wrong. I'll say that anywhere. I added his name to my witness list. I contacted 2 of my college professors. Both had met my parents or tried to. Professor Martinez. I invited your parents to the academic awards ceremony when you won the departmental scholarship. They RSVP'd, yes, never showed. I remember because I'd prepared remarks about your achievement. Professor Chen. I wrote recommendation letters for you. When I called your parents to tell them about your graduate school acceptances, your mother sounded surprised. She didn't know you'd applied. More witnesses. Kiara's father, the one who'd taken the photo of the empty chairs, agreed to provide a statement. He described the ceremony. The families celebrating. My isolation. The moment he'd decided to document it. It was wrong, he said. Everyone there knew it was wrong. I filed the police report on a Wednesday afternoon. Officer Martinez took my statement at the precinct. I showed him everything. The financial records, the timeline, the graduation day text. This isn't a criminal matter, he said. But I can file this as a harassment report. Creates a legal record. That helps? In a civil case? Absolutely. Shows you took official action. He filed it. Gave me a case number. #20205 to 4471. I had an official police case number against my own parents. By the end of 3 weeks, I had a file 3 inches thick. Rebecca reviewed everything in her office. This is bulletproof, she said. If we go to trial, they have no defense. The evidence is overwhelming. What happens now? Now, we decide when and where to confront them, privately or publicly. Your choice. I thought about the empty chairs, the Instagram post, Vanessa's smirk at every family gathering. I want it public, I said. I want everyone to see who they really are. Rebecca smiled. Then we make a plan. When's your sister's wedding? August 12th. Perfect. We have time to prepare, and a venue where the entire family will be gathered. My heart pounded. You think I should do it at her wedding? I think you should do it wherever you'll have the biggest audience. Where denial is impossible. Where everyone they care about impressing will witness the truth. The wedding. In front of 200 guests. In front of the family, who'd always looked the other way. Okay, I said. The wedding. The wedding invitation arrived 6 weeks after graduation. Heavy cardstock, gold foil, Vanessa and her fiancé's names embossed across the front. August 12th. Lakeside Country Club. Black tie optional. Inside, a handwritten note from Mom. We hope you'll come. It's time to move past the graduation drama and celebrate as a family. Drama. She'd called it drama. I showed the invitation to Rebecca. This is your venue, she said immediately. 200 guests, the entire extended family. Everyone they want to impress. Everyone who's been enabling this for years. You really think I should do it at her wedding? I think you should do it wherever they can't escape, where denial is impossible. She leaned forward. Nadia, they humiliated you publicly. Turnabout is fair play. I thought about the empty chairs, the viral photo, the text message on the morning of my graduation. What if everyone thinks I'm ruining her day out of jealousy? Then you make sure the evidence is undeniable. You don't make accusations, you present facts. Dollar amounts, dates, receipts. You let the numbers speak. I looked at the invitation again. August 12th. 8 weeks away. Okay, I said. The wedding. Rebecca smiled. Good. Now let's prepare your presentation. We spent the next 3 weeks building the case like a trial. Evidence packets, printed and organized. Bank statements showing the $127,000. Side-by-side timelines. Screenshots of Instagram posts with timestamps. I rehearsed my speech 17 times. In front of Rebecca, in front of Kiara, in front of Uncle James. Each time, I refined it. Cut the emotion. Added the facts. Made it irrefutable. Keep your tone calm, Rebecca coached. You're not angry, you're stating facts. The angrier you sound, the easier it is to dismiss you as jealous. But facts? Facts are undeniable. I practiced until I could deliver the whole thing without my voice shaking. Kiara helped me plan the logistics. You need to do it during the reception, she said. After dinner, before the toasts, when everyone's seated and paying attention. You stand up, you speak, you present evidence, you leave. What if they try to stop me? They won't. Not in front of 200 people. They care too much about appearances. She was right. Uncle James agreed to be there. As support. As witness. I'll be right behind you, he promised. The second you need backup, I'm there. I RSVP'd yes to the wedding. Mom texted back immediately. So glad you're coming. Let's put all the negativity behind us. Negativity. As if I were the problem. I didn't respond. The days counted down. August approached. I bought a dress. Navy blue. Professional. Not flashy. I wanted to look serious. Credible. I printed the evidence packets, 50 copies, one for every table. I wrote my speech on note cards, then memorized it so I wouldn't need them. I was ready. The night before the wedding, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about what would happen tomorrow. The accusations, the evidence, the fallout. There would be no going back after this. Kiara knocked softly and came in. Can't sleep either? What if I'm making a mistake? She sat on the edge of my bed. Do you think you're making a mistake? I thought about the empty chairs, the $127,000, the 18 months of systematic erasure. No, I said. I think I'm telling the truth. Then that's all you need to know. She stayed until I finally fell asleep around 3 a.m. When I woke, it was August 12th. The day everything would change. The morning of the wedding was surreal. I woke up at 7 a.m., showered, made coffee I couldn't drink. My hands shook every time I picked up the mug. Kiara made me eat toast. You need energy. It's going to be a long day. I managed 3 bites. The wedding started at 4 p.m., reception at 6 p.m. I planned to speak around 7:30, after dinner service, before the formal toasts. Prime time. Maximum audience. I spent the morning reviewing my evidence one last time, making sure everything was in order. The bank statements showing $127,000 in payments to Vanessa, the $250 sent to me. The timeline of lies. The text message from graduation day. All of it printed, organized, ready. At noon, Mom texted, "Can't wait to see you tonight. It's going to be a beautiful celebration." I stared at the message. She had no idea what was coming. Part of me felt guilty. This was Vanessa's wedding day. Was I really going to do this? Then I remembered the empty chairs, the brunch she'd had 12 minutes from my graduation, the Instagram post. I really needed them today. The guilt evaporated. At 2 p.m., I started getting ready. The navy dress. Simple jewelry. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. I wanted to look composed. Professional. Unshakable. Kiara helped me zip up the dress. You look perfect. Strong. I feel like I'm going to throw up. That's adrenaline. Once you start talking, it'll kick in. You'll be fine. Uncle James texted at 3 p.m. I'm here if you need me. You've got this. I put the evidence folder in my bag. Checked it 3 times to make sure I had everything. At 3:45 p.m., Kiara drove me to Lakeside Country Club. The venue was beautiful. Sprawling lawn, massive white tent, lake glittering in the afternoon sun, flowers everywhere, string lights, a quartet playing on the lawn. Money. So much money. All of it, from my parents. We parked and I sat in the car, breathing. You can still back out, Kiara said quietly. No one would blame you. I would blame me. She squeezed my hand. Then let's go. The ceremony was at 4 p.m. I sat in the back row, watching Vanessa walk down the aisle in an $8,000 dress our parents had paid for. She looked beautiful. Happy. Completely unaware. Mom and Dad sat in the front row, crying proud tears. I felt nothing. The ceremony ended. Cocktail hour began. I stayed on the periphery, nursing a glass of water. Extended family kept approaching. Nadia, we haven't seen you in so long. How have you been? Good, I said. Really good. At 6 p.m., we moved into the tent for the reception. 200 guests. Round tables with elaborate centerpieces. Head table for the wedding party. I sat at table 12, near the back. Uncle James maneuvered to sit with me. Ready? He whispered. Ready. Dinner was served. I didn't taste any of it. Around me, guests laughed, talked, celebrated. Vanessa and her new husband looked blissful at the head table. Mom kept glancing over at me, smiling. Like everything was fine. Like she hadn't destroyed me 3 months ago. At 7:15 p.m., dinner service ended. The DJ announced that toasts would begin shortly. This was it. I pulled the folder from my bag, checked my phone one last time. The viral photo from my graduation had 2.8 million views now. Enough people knew the truth. Now the rest would too. I stood up. I stand up and the table goes quiet. Uncle James nods. I step away from my seat, folder in hand, and walk toward the front of the tent. My heels click on the temporary flooring. People notice. Conversations pause. By the time I reach the space between the dance floor and the head table, at least 50 people are watching. I don't wait for permission. I speak. I need to say something before the toasts begin. Vanessa's head snaps toward me. Her smile freezes. Mom half stands. Nadia. Honey. This isn't. I'll be brief. My voice is steady. Loud enough to carry. 3 months ago, I graduated from Northwestern University. Summa cum laude. 4.0 GPA. Phi Beta Kappa. The tent is completely silent now. 200 faces turned toward me. My parents weren't there. I see Dad's face drain of color. They sent me a text message at 6:14 a.m. Graduation morning. It said Vanessa needed them more. I pull out my phone, hold it up. I have the message. Would anyone like to see it? No one moves. They weren't at a hospital. They weren't handling an emergency. They were at the Ivy Room, 12 minutes from my graduation ceremony, having a $340 brunch. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Mom stands fully now. Nadia, this is your sister's wedding. I know what it is. I open the folder. Pull out the first document. This is my father's Venmo history, public record. Over the last 18 months, he sent Vanessa $127,000. I hold up the bank statement. Let people see the numbers. $127,000. For wedding expenses, bridal showers, dress fittings, this venue, this reception. Vanessa's face is white. Nadia, stop. In the same 18 months, he sent me $250 total. The crowd murmurs, louder now. That's a ratio of 508 to 1. I let that sink in. 508 times more money for her than for me. Dad finds his voice. That's private financial. It's public record, Dad. You made your Venmo public. Everyone can see it. I pull out another document. Here's the payment for the brunch venue, $3,200. Paid 2 weeks before my graduation. This wasn't a last-minute emergency. You planned this. Uncle James stands. Backs me up physically. Others notice. Mom's voice shakes. You don't understand. Vanessa needed. I needed you too. My voice doesn't shake. I needed you at my graduation. I needed you when I asked for help with rent and you said money was tight. That was November 2 years ago. The same week you sent Vanessa $11,000 for her dream wedding. I pull out the timeline, hold it up. Every time I asked for help, you said no. Every time she asked, you said yes. I have 18 months of documentation, texts, emails, bank statements. Grandmother Mom's mother stands at her table. Carol, is this true? Mom can't answer. I keep going. I worked 20 hours a week through college. I took out $43,000 in loans. I ate ramen 4 nights a week. And you watched. You watched me struggle while you gave her everything. Vanessa is crying now. This isn't fair. You're right. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair that I sat alone at my graduation while you had brunch with our parents. It wasn't fair that they spent enough money on your wedding to pay off my student loans twice over. I pull out the final document. The photo. The one that went viral. This is Section A, Row 3, Seats 7 and 8. Northwestern Ryan Auditorium. Empty. These are the seats I saved for my parents. The seats they chose not to fill. I hold the photo up. People lean forward to see. 2.8 million people have seen this photo. Everyone in Dad's law firm, Mom's book club, your wedding guests saw it. Everyone knows they missed my graduation. I look directly at my parents. What they don't know is why. They don't know about the $127,000. They don't know about the 18 months of lies. They don't know that you didn't just miss one day, you've been erasing me for years. Mom is crying. Dad looks like he's been punched. I filed a police report, I say. Case number 2,025 to 4,471. Harassment and emotional distress. I hired a lawyer. She says I have grounds for a civil lawsuit. The tent erupts in whispers. I'm not here to ruin Vanessa's wedding. I'm here to tell the truth. The truth you've been hiding behind closed doors while pretending to be perfect parents in public. I close the folder. Look around the room. I deserved better. I deserved parents who showed up, who kept promises, who didn't measure love in dollar amounts and empty chairs. I meet Vanessa's eyes. Congratulations on your wedding. I hope the $127,000 was worth it. Then I turn and walk out. Behind me, chaos erupts. Voices shouting. Mom crying. Dad trying to explain. Uncle James follows me out. Kiara meets us in the parking lot. Holy shit, she breathes. Nadia. You did it. I did. My hands are shaking now. Adrenaline crashing. But I did it. The truth is out. And everyone knows. I made it to Kiara's car before my legs gave out. She drove. Uncle James followed in his car. Neither of them spoke. My phone started vibrating before we left the parking lot. Texts flooding in. Calls. Voicemails. Aunt Patricia. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years. We always knew something was wrong. Mom. 17 missed calls in 10 minutes. Dad. We need to talk. This is a misunderstanding. Vanessa. You ruined my wedding. I will never forgive you. I turned my phone off. By the time we got back to the apartment, Uncle James had fielded calls from 6 family members. Half supported me. Half thought I'd gone too far. Your grandmother wants to talk to you, he said. She's furious at your parents. That night, I slept for 12 hours straight. When I woke up, Rebecca had already filed the restraining order. Temporary protection. No contact for 30 days while we built the case. It was done. The truth was out, and I could finally breathe. Rebecca filed the civil lawsuit 3 days after the wedding. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Breach of familial duty. Promissory fraud. We were seeking $127,000 in compensatory damages, the exact amount they'd given Vanessa plus $50,000 in punitive damages. They'll try to settle, Rebecca predicted. They won't want this going to trial. Too much public exposure. She was right. 2 weeks after we filed, their attorney contacted us, offered $15,000 to make it go away. That's insulting, I said. It is, Rebecca agreed. Counter? Full amount or trial. No negotiation. Their attorney called back within an hour. They can't afford $177,000. Then they shouldn't have spent $127,000 on one daughter while neglecting the other, Rebecca said coolly. We'll see them in court. The court date was set for December, 6 months away. In the meantime, the restraining order was extended. No contact until after the trial. Mom violated it twice. Showed up at my apartment. Campus security escorted her away both times. Each violation was documented, added to our case. Dad sent emails through his secretary. This is tearing the family apart. Please drop the lawsuit. I didn't respond. The months crawled by. Discovery, depositions, more evidence submitted. In September, I sat for my deposition. Their attorney tried to paint me as jealous, vindictive, ungrateful. Isn't it true you've always resented your sister's success? No, I said calmly. I resented my parents' favoritism. Isn't it true you're doing this for money? I'm doing this for acknowledgement. The money is restitution. Your parents provided for you your entire childhood, until I turned 18. Then they provided for my sister and told me to figure it out. Rebecca had prepped me well. I didn't break, didn't cry, stated facts. In October, Vanessa was deposed. She fell apart. I didn't know it was that bad, she sobbed on record. They helped me because I asked. Nadia never asked. She did ask, Rebecca said, sliding the evidence across. 14 documented times in 18 months. Here are your parents' responses. All denials. Vanessa went silent. In November, Mom was deposed. She tried the parent card. We love both our daughters equally. Nadia is just more independent. She didn't need us the way Vanessa did. Is that why you missed her college graduation? Rebecca asked. Mom's face crumpled. That was a mistake. Vanessa was having a crisis. A brunch crisis? Rebecca's tone was surgical. A $3,200 brunch you'd booked 2 weeks in advance? Mom had no answer. Dad's deposition was worse. He tried to justify the money. Vanessa needed help getting established. Nadia had scholarships. Partial scholarships, Rebecca corrected. She took out $43,000 in loans. Did you offer to help with those? We didn't have the means. You had $127,000 for Vanessa's wedding expenses. That was over 18 months. So was Nadia's need. You chose not to help her. That's the pattern we're establishing. By December, their attorney was pushing hard for settlement. $50,000, then $75,000, then $100,000. Hold, I told Rebecca. Full amount or verdict. The trial was set for December 18th. We arrived at the courthouse at 8 a.m. Clear winter morning. I wore a navy suit. Rebecca carried 3 boxes of evidence. My parents arrived separately. Mom looked like she'd aged 10 years. Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. The courtroom was small. Judge Martha Brennan presiding. No jury, this was a bench trial. Rebecca presented our case methodically. The Venmo payments. The timeline. The text message from graduation morning. The viral photo with 2.8 million views. This isn't a case of normal family dynamics, Rebecca argued. This is systematic emotional abuse documented over 18 months. The defendants made deliberate choices to favor one adult daughter over another, culminating in the public humiliation of missing her college graduation for a paid brunch with her sister. Their attorney argued back. This is a family disagreement. Parents have the right to allocate resources as they see fit. There's no legal obligation to fund adult children equally. There is, Rebecca countered. When promises are made and broken. When disparate treatment causes documented emotional harm. When humiliation is public and deliberate. Judge Brennan listened to everything, reviewed the evidence, asked pointed questions. To Dad. Did you tell your daughter you'd help with college expenses? Yes, but did you then help her? Silence. Did you help her sister instead? We helped both. $127,000 versus $250. Is that helping both? Dad had no response. At 4 p.m., Judge Brennan delivered her ruling. I find in favor of the plaintiff. The evidence is overwhelming. The defendants engaged in a pattern of favoritism so severe it crosses into emotional abuse. The missed graduation was not an isolated incident. It was the culmination of 18 months of systematic neglect. My heart pounded. I award compensatory damages of $127,000, matching the disparity in financial support. I further award punitive damages of $43,000, matching the plaintiff's student loan debt. $170,000. Additionally, I'm granting a 2-year restraining order. No contact except through attorneys. The gavel came down. I sat frozen. Rebecca squeezed my hand. You won. Behind me, Mom was crying. Dad looked gutted. I felt nothing. Just cold relief. Validation. Outside the courthouse, Uncle James hugged me. You did it. You proved it. They'll appeal, I said. Let them. The judgment is public record now. Everyone knows. He was right. Within hours, the judgment was online. Court records, public. My parents' names attached to a ruling of emotional abuse and favoritism. Their reputation was destroyed, and mine was finally clear. The money came in installments. Court mandated $2,000 per month for 7 years. I put every cent toward my student loans. Within a year, they were paid off. The family fractured completely. Uncle James, Aunt Patricia, and grandmother sided with me. Stopped speaking to my parents entirely. Vanessa divorced 8 months after the wedding. Apparently, her husband had been horrified by what came out in the trial. My parents became pariahs. Dad's law firm quietly encouraged him to retire early. Mom's book club disbanded. She was the reason. They moved to a smaller house, sold the SUV, downsized everything. I heard updates through Uncle James. Never reached out. The restraining order gave me 2 years of silence. By the time it expired, I didn't need it anymore. I had no interest in contact. They'd made their choice. I'd made mine. It's been 3 years now. 3 years since I stood in that wedding tent and told the truth. 3 years since Judge Brennan ruled in my favor. 3 years since I walked away from my parents for good. People ask if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled it differently. I don't. My life is unrecognizable from that morning I got the text message on graduation day. Financially, I'm stable for the first time in my adult life. The judgment money paid off my $43,000 in student loans completely. I finished my MBA, paid for by that full scholarship I'd earned. Now I'm a marketing director at a tech firm in Seattle. Salary: $145,000 a year. I have a 1-bedroom apartment with a view of the water. I have savings, an emergency fund, a retirement account. I don't eat ramen anymore unless I want to. Professionally, I'm thriving. I got promoted twice in 2 years. My boss calls me one of the most resilient people she's ever worked with. I mentor 3 junior employees. Last month, I spoke at a conference about overcoming adversity. I didn't mention my family, but I thought about them the whole time. Emotionally, I'm healing. Therapy helps. I see Dr. Richardson twice a month. We talk about boundaries, self-worth, the difference between family and obligation. You didn't destroy your family, she tells me regularly. You revealed the truth. They destroyed it themselves. Some days, I believe her. Most days, actually. I'm dating someone. His name is Marcus. He's kind, stable, shows up when he says he will. When I told him my story, he didn't flinch. They didn't deserve you, he said simply. I'm learning to believe that too. My relationship with my parents is non-existent. We haven't spoken in 3 years. The restraining order expired last year. I didn't renew it because I didn't need to. They know better than to contact me now. I heard through Uncle James that Mom tried to send a Christmas card last year. He returned it unopened. She asked if you'd ever forgive them, he told me. What did you say? I said forgiveness requires accountability. They've never admitted they were wrong. He's right. They haven't. In their version of the story, I'm the villain, the ungrateful daughter who ruined Vanessa's wedding out of jealousy, the one who sued her own parents over a misunderstanding. They've learned nothing. Vanessa and I don't speak either. She sends occasional texts always around holidays. Can we talk? I miss you. I'm sorry for my part in this. I don't respond. Her part wasn't just accepting the money. It was knowing I was struggling and saying nothing. It was the brunch on my graduation day. It was calling my achievement Nadia's thing. She made her choices too. But I'm close with Uncle James, Aunt Patricia, and Grandmother. They come to Seattle twice a year. We have holidays together, Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays. This is what family looks like, Grandmother said last Christmas. People who show up, people who celebrate your wins, people who apologize when they're wrong. She's 83 and wiser than anyone I know. The viral photo still exists. 2.8 million views. Sometimes people recognize me from it. You're the graduation girl, they say. The empty chairs. I used to hate that. Now I own it. Yeah, I say. That's me. I'm doing great now. And I am. I'm 25 now. Living a life my parents said I'd never achieve without their help. Turns out, I didn't need their help. I needed them out of my way. The lawsuit was worth it. Not for the money, though, that helped. For the validation. For the public record that says, you were right, they were wrong, you deserved better. I have that now. Sometimes I wonder if they think about me. If they regret their choices. If they realize what they lost. I doubt it. But that's not my problem anymore. I'm building a life they're not part of. A life with people who choose me, who celebrate me, who show up. I graduated summa cum laude from Northwestern, and they missed it. Their loss, not mine. If you've experienced family favoritism or betrayal, know this. You're not imagining it. You're not overreacting. Your pain is valid. Document everything. Set boundaries. Build your chosen family. And remember, people who truly love you show up. Not just in words, but in actions. Not just when it's convenient, but when it matters. I walked across that stage alone, but I didn't stay alone. Neither do you have to. The empty chairs taught me who my real family is, and sometimes that's the most valuable lesson of all. This is Achiever Betrayed. Thank you for listening to my story.